Greetings everyone, it's the New York Thrifter here, but today I'm not in New York. Instead, this is a Goodwill in North Carolina. On my in-law side of the family, they decided they wanted to see snow. They're from Florida, so we all drove to North Carolina right around the Boone area, and I was able to sneak off one day to visit some thrift stores. This one is a quite large Goodwill there in Boone, North Carolina. As you can see, racks and racks of clothes. Now, even though I thrift now in a large metropolitan area, I am used to thrifting in these small towns. I grew up in a very small town in northern Idaho, and so I kind of knew what to expect. A lot of Old Navy clothes, Walmart clothes, Target clothes, which is totally fine. A lot of times those are the kind of stores that you'll find or you'll drive to get your apparel. However, I also found some really good stuff. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to visit several thrift stores with you in this small town. I'm going to show you some of the things that I did not thrift, as well as a thrift haul at the end of the pieces I did thrift. And I think you're going to be quite surprised because there are some absolute gems to be had. So first up, let's go through the things that I did not thrift from this Goodwill. Here we have an old cabbie tag, and this was a really great sheer top, but when I looked up comps, they just weren't there. An APC top, which is a great brand, but it was a little faded. A Johnny Was embroidered top that had holes near the hem, so I had to leave that. Standard James purse, it was faded, and you see a little stain on there, left that. Sundance, a beautiful floral dress, but the hem was coming undone. And this was an all black LuLaRoe dress, which normally I would have gotten. However, somebody had cut out the size tag. So I could have measured it, but I decided it wasn't really worth my time. So I left that one behind. The next place I stopped was a bit of a 2-for-1 with the Goodwill being right next to a local thrift store, Hebron County Thrift Store. So I went into the smaller thrift. It had a lot of children's clothes and quite a few shoes, but unfortunately it just didn't have a lot of what I was looking for. I did get a dress that you'll see at the end with the haul, but that is about it. And so then I went into the Goodwill, which was a pretty good size. They had a great shoe selection and also a pretty large women's section, and so I was able to find quite a few things. I did leave some behind. Like before, the things that I left behind are mostly because of wear. First up is this Seasucker Brooks Brothers blazer, which was missing a button, so I had to say no. This is a Stitch Fix brand, a pullover top with embroidery that was very worn. A Talbot's really nice pattern, and it also had some beading on it, but it had a big stain on the back. A Marc by Marc Jacobs sweater, which usually would be a great find, but it was pilling. Lafayette 148. The fabric was very, very worn on this, and also that is an older tag, which just doesn't make as much money as the newer tags. And finally, I found the Salvation Army Family Store. It didn't look hopeful from the outside, but once I started looking through the racks, I was absolutely blown away at some of the finds that I got here. I think the lesson here is just because a thrift store looks small or out of the way, don't pass it up. Don't pass up thrift stores. Definitely go in and check them out because this was an amazing Salvation Army. Okay, so now that we've seen what I didn't thrift, let's check out what I did in my small town haul. First up is this J. Crew ruffle neck sleeveless top in a beautiful lavender purple color. It is new with tags. Original price was $60. I picked it up for $4, and one of the reasons I really loved this is it is a size 10, an excellent size. So I checked comps, and it looks like I can get a pretty quick, probably $25 to $30 with a piece like this, especially as we get closer to summer. The next top I got was also $4. All the tops are going to be $4. And this is a Clara Sun Woo size medium, cold shoulder, turquoise top. And I really like this brand. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. It's definitely, the popularity is more on eBay because it is a bit of a more mature or career-driven brand that you could definitely wear this to work. But a Clara Sunwoo top is pretty much guaranteed to get you at least $25, if not $30. And they tend, for me at least, to be very fast flips. Here is a logo Lori Goldstein. It is a size small, which is not great, but it has this great lace panel on the front of it. And it is a bit longer. She does make a lot of those tunic lengths, and people really like to wear them, like for instance, with leggings. And it looks like for a top like this, probably $20, or at least list it $20 and see what best offer would be. And that would be definitely on eBay. The only one out of these three I would probably cross post on a Poshmark would be the J. Crew. Now, here's a brand that everyone knows, but not a lot of people talk about reselling. I very much enjoy reselling this. Now, this is the first of my dresses. This is a shirt dress with a tie around the waist, and it has a chain print detail. It is a size 10, a great size. Dresses at these Goodwills were $7, $6.99. And this is a Brooks Brothers brand. And Brooks Brothers, of course, is probably known best for their men's career wear, suiting and such. I find that the women's sells really well for me. I can sell a sweater pretty easily for $20 to $25. For this particular dress, it was a different print, but it was the same size, recently sold on eBay for $47. So I'll probably end up listing this for probably around maybe $45.99 and take a best offer. But I can really see this going quite quickly because of the size, because of the print. And also Brooks Brothers, it's just very, very expensive in the stores. So people who like to buy it and know their size and know their style will come back again and again. Here's another dress that I got for $7. It is an April Cornell, and it is a size large. And as you can see, it is just a long kind of shift dress with a pink floral pattern on it. A lot of these April Coral dresses tend to be maybe a little bit darker of a print. I really liked that this one was spring, summer, and you're going to notice that the tag is a little bit faded. There are a lot of vintage or 90s dresses in this brand, but I find that it has quite the following. I don't mind picking that up for $7 because I'm probably going to end up listing it for about $32.99, and I would expect with this color palette to be sold pretty quickly for definitely around $30. Here's another kind of vintage brand, or vintage-esque brand, I should say. This is a Michael Simon sweater. I purchased this for $6, and it was finished in Hong Kong, knit in China. I believe that this is probably going to be vintage, but of course I will look up the tag. And Michael Simon is known for his knit sweaters with pretty wild designs. This is actually pretty tame for him. You've got the huge buttons here. You've got the gold knitting going on, the different plaid colors all happening. And when you look up Michael Simon, and this would be a brand for eBay, you're going to find that some sell for $5 and some sell for $80. And really what it's going to depend on is what the print is and what people are looking for. The more recognizable a print, the better you're going to do. For instance, there was a recent sale around the holidays for around $80, I believe, for a nativity scene. So you had Joseph and Mary and baby Jesus knit into the sweater. That got a really great price. You'll also see cats and dog sweaters go for a lot of money. Because this doesn't really have any animal or any representation other than being the plaid, I'm probably expecting this to go for about $30. I'll list it for about $34.99 is what I'm thinking, and take best offer. It's very heavy because it is a knit sweater. but hopefully I'll be able to sell that before spring rolls around. Again, Michael Simon has quite the following. People will save searches on eBay to make sure that they get exactly the knit they're looking for. And the last thing that I purchased at this Goodwill for $6 is this Anthropologie brand. A lot of people call it HWR when they're listing for Anthropologie. It's not HWR. This is actually Monogram. The name of this brand is Monogram. And this is a light sweater with bows on it. And so the bows are kind of stitched right in there. Really, really cute piece. One that I could definitely see cross-posting onto Poshmark. Probably going to be asking for around $25 and taking a best offer. Anthropologie still sells well for me, but there is quite a few pieces on the market. And so the prices have been going down a smidge, nothing enough for me not to buy Anthropologie, but just be aware that you're not always going to make, that $40 or $45 mark that used to be pretty common with these brands. I went to that second store, the local thrift store. I only got one thing, and that is a Komaroff dress. And these dresses are really known for kind of that crinkled texture. Also having very light, pretty designs, floral designs, a lot of them. These are often purchased for weddings, like a mother of the bride or a more casual wedding. And they get a pretty good return online. I would say I'm probably going to be able to sell that for $30 or $35. And I picked it up for $3. So I grabbed it and I figured I would see what would happen. Now, this is the next Goodwill that I went to. And first up is a J. Crew factory. You can tell it's factory because of the dots underneath here. It is a size 10, and I purchased it for $5.50. And it is this great wool jacket. It's got a little lint on there. Great wool jacket. Wool jackets from J. Crew wool blazers do extremely well for me, whether it be factory or their regular retail store. For this one in particular, it's called the wool ruffle jacket, and I am going to be able to list it. I'm thinking probably $35 or $40, taking a best offer. And of course, I would cross post that on both Poshmark and eBay. Here is another Anthropologie brand. This one is called Postmark, and you actually wouldn't see that from the tag. You'd have to find that out online, what this is called. This is a size medium. It is new with tags, originally sold for $88. I picked this up for $6.99, and this is the patchwork sweater. It is new with tags in perfect condition. I'm going to be cross-posting this between eBay and Poshmark, and it looks like I'm probably going to put a price tag of around maybe $35 on this, just because it's new with tags. It can command a bit of a higher price. Now, this is a brand I think everyone in the reseller community should know. If you are kind of casually watching, if you want to come over to the screen, I'm going to show you this tag. This is Acris, and this is a very, very high-end brand. This is something that you would go to a major department store and you would end up spending $800 to $1,000 on a suit. The blazers, this is a blazer, can go for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. This one is an absolute beautiful condition. It is a bit asymmetrical, just to add kind of a little bit of interest there in the buttons. It would definitely be something that would do very well, specifically on eBay, where I could probably list it, or there have been solds listed for anywhere between $80 and $160. And so it's definitely a brand that you want to look out for. I paid, I want to say $6 for this, and so it was a really, really good deal. Now, while I could list this on, like, say, eBay and get quite a good payday, probably what I'm going to do is send it into either ThredUp Luxe or The Real Real. On ThredUp Luxe, they say the return is between $45 and $55 for a blazer like this. And on the Real Real, it would be listed for around $125. They usually give discounts of about 20%, and then you make about 55% off of that 20%. So there's a lot of questions people have about the Real Real. A lot of people have had bad experiences. I actually really like selling through the Real Real. If you have any questions for me, put them down below, or maybe if you want me to make a video. But I'm probably going to be sending this in to an online consignment. And people will say, well, wait a second, you could get more money by listing it and shipping it yourself. But I have found, at least with brands like Acris, they sell very, very quickly through online consignments. So if I send this in, I could have my cash much, much quicker. Even though it's a little bit lower, there's no work for me. I just make sure this is going to be steamed and looking great, mail it in. They do the photography, they do the selling, they do the customer service. Now here is the pile from the last place that I visited, and I actually did really well. This was the tiny Salvation Army that you saw, and I was blown away at some of the pieces that I found. So let me walk you through it. First up, we have this by Melanie Berger. And this is a new-ish to me brand. I have found a dress before that I looked up and realized that this was a high-end brand. I sent the dress into the Real Real and got a very good payout for it. This one is a little bit plain. It's just a cream-colored shirt with a tie here. I did spend $5 for it, but that doesn't bother me at all, because if I sent this again into ThredUp, I would probably get about $30 in consignment. They also sell this on the Real Real, but it would be much less in consignment. So ThredUp Luxe is probably going to get that. This is a men's shirt. This is Missoni Sport, and it has got the coolest plaid print on it. There, it's embroidered with the name of the company. This is going to be vintage. It's button down. It's got the bright colors and the texture that Missoni is really known for. I am probably going to be listing this in my vintage eBay shop. I know I've been talking about my vintage eBay shop for years now. Never pulled the trigger on it, but more to come in 2019. I absolutely promise you that. Gretchen Scott is probably somebody that you have seen if you are a thrifter, usually selling long tunics with incredibly bright colors and patterns, and this one's no different. We've got the loud geometric print with a little bit of the neon green and turquoise. This tunic is a size medium. They're usually made out of cotton, and this brand is really great if you live in really warm weather like in Arizona or a Florida, maybe even Texas. So you want to keep cool, or you're going on a cruise or a vacation. People will generally spend between $20 and $25 on that. Oh, and I didn't tell you, I spent on this one $4. So there's the price tag. And then I don't think I told you on the Missoni, I spent $5 on this one. And for the Missoni, I'm probably going to be listing it for around $50. And so hopefully I will be getting a good return on that. This is a Vince sweater, very popular with the kids nowadays, size medium. It is a striped tunic length. I purchased it for $4, and I am going to be cross-posting this on eBay and Poshmark. I find, for me, Vince generally sells better on Poshmark, or at least faster. Probably be listing it for around $50. And if I was to only be selling it on eBay, I would probably only get about $30. So I would list it for $29.99. But because I do have Poshmark as a platform, I will be able to see if I can get a bit more money out of it. I've got another vintage piece here. This is an Yves Saint Laurent, and it is a size medium. It is an open knit sweater, and it's got an icky on it, but that's okay. That comes right off. I spent $3.99 on this piece, and what I'm thinking for this is probably also in my vintage shop, if and when I open it. I looked on eBay for comps, or I'm sorry, I looked on Etsy for comps, and I found that a piece like this really ranges from between $50 and $100 selling it. So I'm just going to have to make up my mind. Once I clean it up and see the condition, that'll probably help me decide on the price tag. I found 2 Lululemon sweaters. I did a quick search on Lulu Fanatics, and I want to say these are like the For Me sweaters. I'm going to do a better search before I list them, of course. This one is great because it has the gingham on it. And it was funny because my mother-in-law, while she was shopping with me, she was like, I was going to show you that, but it didn't have a tag in it. So I wasn't sure whether it was high end. And I literally flipped it around and I said, oh, that is the only thing you need is that Lululemon logo right here. And I know that it is very high end. Here is the second one. Again, it doesn't have the tag in it, but if you flip it around, again, you'll see that Lululemon logo. So for these pieces, size 10 for the gingham, size 12 for the marled navy blue. And I would say probably going to list them at around $45.99 on both eBay and Poshmark, and be very, very stingy with best offers because that is an incredible deal for these. But I'm willing to make the deal because I did spend only $6 per piece. I also ran into this St. John collection, size 8. And this is a Santana knit blazer. And it has the really great St. John buttons there. Some people, if the knit has holes in it, they will cut off these buttons and just sell these to get their money back. But this, I don't believe has any holes. I checked it pretty thoroughly in the store, but of course I will be washing it and checking it again. I spent $7 on this, and thrifters know St. John is really great for getting your money back. It looks like I'm probably going to be able, hopefully, to get $80 or $90 listing this on eBay. So that is my total haul for everything that I brought back with me from North Carolina. And so at first glance, you'll say, oh, you did really good. If you add up how much I spent just under $90. For resale, probably around maybe $625 if I take kind of the lowest numbers that I talked about. If you take fees, that is about $500 sold and subtract cost of goods. We're looking at about $410 in profit, which definitely pays for gas plus some for our holiday trip. So it seems like it's a pretty great deal, but I'm not sure how often these bigger brands would come through. Where I live in the New York metro area, I can pretty regularly go into any of the thrift stores, even ones that I had been in very recently, and find new pieces, new designers. Whereas in something a little more rural, like the mountains of North Carolina, I don't think they have the turnover. So if you were a reseller, you will find some high-end designer pieces. I just don't think it would be as often as you find them in some of the bigger metro areas. So just something to think about if you are on vacation. It can absolutely be a really fun time to go to any local thrift stores and see what you can find that hasn't been picked over. And so I hope you enjoyed the video, and I am going to be back soon. I went thrifting a day right after I got back from my trip, and I have a whole pile of New Jersey finds. And so the next video is going to be what $100 New Jersey thrifting gets you. So stay tuned for that.